Noah had a stomachache again this morning, the third Monday in a row. The pediatrician said it was stress, and Claire couldn't stop thinking about one possibility she didn't want to consider. What if her son wasn't carrying his anxiety? What if he was carrying hers? Claire stood in the hallway outside the bathroom and listened to him get ready for school. She didn't go in. She didn't want him to see the look on her face, because the look on her face wasn't concern. It was recognition. She knew that stomachache. She'd had it herself. At 9, at 14, at 32. That low, quiet dread that settles in your body before you've even had a chance to name what you're afraid of. He learned it from somewhere, and for the first time, Claire wondered if some of that somewhere was her. Claire was not the mother who yelled. She was proud of this. Deeply, quietly proud. She had made a decision early on that her home would be calm, that her son would never feel the particular kind of dread she'd felt walking into a room and reading the temperature of her mother's mood before she'd even said a word. So she kept her voice even. She chose her words carefully. When work was terrible, she still said, "I'm fine, just tired." When she was frightened, she still held the steady expression of someone who was not. She gave Noah calm. She gave him the performance of it, at least. And somewhere in the gap between those two things, between real calm and performed calm, her 9-year-old's nervous system had been quietly, faithfully taking notes. The pediatrician had explained that Noah's body was reacting to stress in a gentle voice, the way doctors do when they mean something they don't want to say directly. Claire had nodded, thanked her, walked out of the clinic, and kept walking, past the bus stop, past the coffee shop where she usually stopped, past the familiar corners of the neighborhood she'd walked for 6 years. She was trying to think. But thinking was harder than it should have been, because what kept surfacing wasn't logic. It was memory. The memory of sitting at the kitchen table when she was 8, watching her mother's hands. Her mother never raised her voice either, but the energy in those hands, the way she set down a glass, the speed at which she moved through tasks. Claire had learned to read all of it. She'd been a fluent reader of her mother's body by the age of 6, and now she understood something she hadn't been prepared to understand. Without meaning to, she'd taught Noah the exact thing she'd spent her whole life trying not to teach him. Not in anger, not in chaos. In every shallow breath she'd taken while smiling at him across the dinner table. In every tight, held together exhale she'd released just after he left the room. In every "I'm fine, sweetheart" she'd offered him instead of the truth. Researchers have spent decades studying something called co-regulation, the way a child's nervous system learns safety from the people around them. Here is what the research tells us, in plain language, not clinical language. A child's nervous system does not listen to words. It listens to regulation. From the moment a baby is born, their brain is doing one thing above everything else, scanning the person who takes care of them. Not for what that person says, for what that person's body is doing. Is the breath slow or held? Are the shoulders relaxed or tight? Are the muscles calm or braced? Children do not experience their parents' stress as information. They experience it as weather, as the climate of the room they live in. Their own nervous systems learn to tune themselves to that climate, not because they're sensitive, but because that's exactly what a nervous system is designed to do. This is called co-regulation, and it works whether the parent intends it or not. A parent who performs calm while carrying a storm, whose words say everything's fine, while their body says brace yourself, creates a particular kind of confusion in a child's developing brain. The words and the body don't match, and a child will always believe the body. Claire sat down on a bench near the river. The city moved around her. A dog walked past. Someone's umbrella turned inside out in the wind. She thought about every morning she had stood in that kitchen being capable, being competent, being the version of herself that her son could rely on. And for the first time, she let herself ask the real question. Not was I a good mother, but who was I protecting when I hit it? Him. She thought she was protecting him, but maybe she was protecting herself, because showing him that she was sometimes frightened, that she was sometimes tired all the way through, would have meant showing herself that she was. And somewhere along the way, without ever deciding to, Claire had learned that feeling it was more dangerous than carrying it. Her mother had taught her that, quietly, without words, exactly the way she'd been teaching Noah. There is a teaching that has stayed with people for centuries, not because it is complicated, but because it is painfully simple. You cannot pour from a vessel that has no opening, a container that has been sealed, that holds everything within itself and lets nothing move, does not become full. It becomes stagnant. The same breath that moves through us moves through those we love, not metaphorically, physically. The co-regulation of nervous systems is not poetry. It is biology. We are not separate islands passing instructions to each other. We are bodies in proximity, breathing the same air, feeling the same tremors in the floor. A child does not need a parent who has no fear. They need a parent who is not afraid of their own fear. The difference is not small, it is everything. Because what a child learns from a parent who says, "I'm worried about something today, but I'll be okay," is not that the world is frightening. They learn that frightening things can be held, that they can be named without breaking everything, that the person they love most is still here, still breathing, still present, even when it's hard. That, eventually, the weather changes. Claire sat by the river until the light changed. She didn't have answers, but she had, for the first time in a long time, but she had stopped pretending she didn't have questions. And sometimes that's where healing begins. Not when the fear disappears, but when it no longer has to hide, and something in her body, very quietly, let go.